A dark, silent night in Britain. A Royal Mail train was racing from Glasgow to London. Inside one of its carriages were bags filled with cash, worth $67 million today, nearly 800 crore. The train driver was 58-year-old Jack Mills. Everything seemed normal, until suddenly, at a remote railway crossing, a red signal light turned on. This was strange. At this time, at this location, this train was never supposed to stop. But Jack Mills did what every driver would do. He hit the brakes. The train came to a halt on a deserted track. For a few seconds, there was complete silence. And hidden behind that silence was the master plan of the biggest train robbery of the century. You're watching Prime Narrative. And this is the story of the great train robbery. A crime so bold, they didn't rob the money. They hijacked the train itself. This story sounds like fiction, but every word is real. Without firing a single bullet, millions of pounds were stolen from Britain's government train. The plan had begun months earlier. Some of London's most experienced criminals came together to plan something unprecedented. The mastermind behind it all was Bruce Reynolds. He had one crucial advantage: a secret. This information came from a senior Royal Mail security officer. To this day, that officer's name and face remain unknown. The secret was simple, yet powerful. Every Glasgow-London mail train carried a special carriage called HVP, high-value packages. This carriage transported huge amounts of cash, and on one specific night, an unusually large amount of money was scheduled to be moved. But there was a problem. Bruce and his gang had never robbed a train before, so they brought in experts. Another criminal group joined them, the South Coast Raiders. Slowly the team grew. More than 15 men were now part of the plan. The rules were clear. Rob the train, no guns, no gunfire. August 7th, 1963, 6:50 p.m. The Royal Mail train departed from Glasgow Central Station, heading for London. Arrival time, 4 a.m. at London Euston. On board were 12 carriages, 72 postal employees. This train was special. It did not stop at stations. Mail was loaded and unloaded while the train was still moving. But the carriage they wanted, the HVP carriage, had not yet been attached. At Nuneaton Valley Station, the HVP carriage was connected. Its number was 24M. And here came the biggest twist. This carriage had no security alarm. Why? Because all alarm-equipped carriages were out of service that day, and fate played its final card. The previous week was a bank holiday weekend, which meant 12 times more cash than usual, nearly $3 million in cash for the robbers. It was the perfect night. August 8th, 1963, around 3:00 a.m. At Sears Crossing, the gang sabotaged the railway signal. The green light was covered with a glove. The red light was powered using a battery. The train approached. The driver saw red. Jack Mills stopped the train. The second man walked toward the trackside phone. The phone was dead. And suddenly, men emerged from the bushes. The second man was restrained. Several robbers climbed into the engine. Jack Mills resisted. One attacker struck him on the head with an iron rod. Jack Mills collapsed unconscious in his seat. Within moments, the engine and first two carriages were detached from the rest of the train. The plan was to drive the train to Bredigo Bridge. But the gang had a problem. The retired driver they brought along couldn't operate the new engine. They had no choice. Jack Mills was revived and forced to drive. After just 1 kilometre, the train stopped on the bridge. The HVP carriage was broken open. 5 staff members were tied up. Inside were 128 money bags, total weight 2.5 tons. They had 15 minutes. They managed to load 120 bags into a truck. 8 bags were left behind. The robbers vanished. By 4:30 a.m., they reached their hideout 43 kilometers away. They turned on the radio. Police alerts were already broadcasting. Celebrating their success, they played Monopoly, using real stolen cash. But the celebration was short-lived. Police had launched a massive search within a 50-kilometer radius. The gang abandoned the hideout, but they left something behind: fingerprints on the Monopoly board. Scotland Yard matched them with criminal records. Within days, 14 out of 16 suspects arrested. 2 disappeared forever. One was the fake train driver. The other, the Royal Mail Insider. The court declared it the greatest robbery of the century. Most robbers were sentenced to 30 years in prison. Bridigo Bridge is still known today as Train Robbers Bridge. Jack Mills never returned to work. 7 years later, he died from complications linked to the attack. You've been watching Prime Narrative. If you enjoyed this true crime documentary, don't forget to like, share, and comment. I'll see you again with another real mysterious story. Until then, Prime Narrative.